Complex PTSD is more than a memory. It's a neurological baseline. The brain and nervous system have physically adapted to sustained trauma, creating a rigid landscape that requires structural intervention rather than surface-level psychological tactics. Because the nervous system is locked in a defensive state, standard positive thinking often backfires. When a trauma survivor repeats a standard affirmation like, "I am safe," they experience cognitive dissonance, a sharp conflict between the spoken word and the body's physical reality. The nervous system interprets this forced positive statement as a threat. Instead of inducing calm, the contradiction triggers the amygdala, escalating the body's defensive resistance to protect against the perceived lie. For deep-rooted trauma, demanding a belief that the body hasn't yet felt is not a healing mechanism. It acts as a trigger, reinforcing the very stress response the survivor is trying to dismantle. Kandayia Ali's I Am Omni research provides a different approach. This framework is specifically designed to bypass the deep, automated trauma defenses that reject traditional affirmations. The approach relies on a specific hypothesis. To bypass the brain's threat detection, you cannot make a louder declaration. You have to ask a more effective question. Shifting language from a definitive statement to an open inquiry changes how the subconscious brain handles information, disarming the automatic rejection mechanism. This is the logic behind the 90-day affirmative action planner. As the guide states, the goal is inviting the subconscious to answer with proof, rather than demanding it accept a new reality. In practice, this means taking a traditional affirmation, such as "I am peaceful," and restructuring it into an affirmation. You ask, "Why am I finding peace easier each morning?" This phrasing works because the brain is wired to solve problems. A statement can be blocked by disbelief, but a question acts as a prompt. The subconscious begins searching for proof to answer the inquiry, activating neural networks that were previously dormant. By activating curiosity, the prompt bypasses the amygdala. The brain is engaged in finding evidence, allowing it to build a new neural pathway without triggering the body's alarm system. This starts a 90-day cycle of mental and biological change, turning a linguistic shift into a consistent self-experiment. The seed phase, days 1 through 14, engages cognitive reappraisal, forming new neural patterns to answer why prompts. Then, days 15 through 28 transition into the root phase. Grounding daily habits are linked to dopamine, associating these small actions with safety and calm. This repetition triggers neural myelination. The brain insulates these pathways with myelin, speeding up the signal to make peaceful responses automatic and physically permanent. Moving into the rewrite phase, days 29 through 40, the focus shifts to the mechanism of epigenetics. Research suggests that sustained emotional states create a stable biochemical environment. Over time, this environment can influence which genes are activated or silenced within the cell. By day 40, the consistent shift in internal inquiry has moved beyond habit. It has maintained a steady biological environment long enough to influence the cell's own regulatory signals. The final stage, days 41 through 90, is the legacy phase. This is where individual cellular healing begins to affect the environment outside the body. This is the mechanism of social inheritance. When one person's nervous system is consistently regulated, they no longer mirror the stress of those around them. Instead, their stability provides a new baseline for others. Through mirror neurons, family members observe and begin to mimic this lack of reactivity. Over time, this changes how the entire family unit processes stress, effectively rewriting the family's narrative of trauma. Healing individual trauma is the foundation for shifting how future generations within a family regulate their own stress. This leads to the planner's final reflective question: why am I the bridge between past pain and future wholeness? Resolving complex PTSD isn't about demanding the mind change. It is about inviting the brain to find its own evidence through persistent, structured inquiry. True peace is a reconstructed biological reality, built one question at a time, until it becomes a lasting legacy.